Welcome back to Equal Time Soccer. I'm Mark Pavrotsky. We're live. And we are happy to be joined by stand up for the Bemidji State Beavers, someone with 35 goals in her history and is now the all-time assist leader for BSU with 30 assists in 87 games. Welcome, Allie Smith.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, look, 87 games, a lot of goals and assists. What happened sophomore year? The one game you didn't start. It was the only time your whole time. Was it a discipline thing?
No, I actually tore my meniscus. So I had to have surgery, and so I missed 4 games.
No, I just thought
so that's why.
Of all the games, if you play, you start. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so I was out for 4 games, but
we have to get initial reactions first because I'm sure it's fresh for you. I was watching the game and it was a thriller. Your recent win over Mankato, never easy to beat them. You tied earlier this year. Didn't have to play in the conference tournament, but you match up in the second round of NCAA's. Talk us through your emotions getting the win.
Yeah, that was a emotional roller coaster. You know, they came out really hard in the first 25.
Yeah,
and kind of pinned us in pretty well. I think our team did well weathering that storm a little bit. And we had to come back. They got up on us fairly early off of a corner. And so we had to kind of fight back. And then to equalize it before halftime, I think was huge for us, going in all tied up. And then we go and get up in the first 3 minutes of the game, and the emotions are high. We're ready to go. Then we let Vetter behind us, and she does what she does best and puts the ball in the net. And then just to kind of battle through that of being really high after scoring and then pretty low after scoring. I'm just proud of how we handled that and kept fighting through. And then extra time was kind of all us, and we made our times count.
Yeah, to get through the first part, it was really, and Mankato does this most of the time. Minnesota State presses really hard in the beginning. And you honestly, even if you sub and things you can't really stay at that level the whole game, which they showed, eventually they can't. It's an insane amount of pressure. And you did a really good job of, you were stuck in, but you didn't make any huge mistakes. You never let them through for a crazy shot. And then, eventually you start to find your passes through it. So, talk about your goal, because it was the equalizer. It was a great goal, a throw in from the sideline, take it over to the 18, and just a sweet curl over top of the keeper, right? Tell us what you felt on that.
Yeah, no, I just kind of wanted the ball at my body because I was just going to try to turn him one way. And there was a Mankato girl that kind of was coming across the face of me, and she came super hard. So I just kind of cut between the two of them. And then I just shot. It just came natural. It's one of those things where you don't think and it just happens. And then it was in the back of the net. So it was a big goal just to equalize. And it just kind of happened. It was just kind of natural.
Yeah, it was a lot of good to get the dip over top of the keeper from that close was cool. That's what made it kind of unique.
Yeah, there's one video you can kind of see it kind of spins down, and she was she had pretty good coverage, but just enough over her fingertips to where it went in the back of the net.
Yeah, no, Raph is no slouch. Really good keeper, and that was just a better shot this time. Talk about, the scoring form you're in, because not all of this year have you been banging in goals. It started a little slower, but then, last year, and so just compared to last year in the tournament too, you've turned it on later in the season. Last year in the tournament, you had to win in PKs, and it was through a, lower scoring game. This year you had 3, and then now you had 4, in extra time. Does it feel different? Does it feel different in terms of having that offensive punch at the right time?
Yeah, this year we had to kind of battle through a little bit of that not scoring adversity, which in recent years we haven't really struggled with. But then we kind of started to turn it on at the right time. And we just keep saying it's not really how you start the season, it's how you finish. And we're playing really good soccer right now. Last year we had really close games. It was windier than heck last year, and their field was bouncy. So I feel we couldn't really play the game we wanted to play last year. And so I think being at home and on that surface allowed us to ping the ball around more and play more Beaver soccer this year, which I think helped lead us to more goals.
How does the turf play different in the cold? I was thinking about this as I was tweeting about the game because, I mean, it's different than like a grass field will get harder in the cold too, but the rubber just literally I have to imagine is not as, versus playing in 100-degree. So I just wonder if it does feel different. It seems like it might, but does it play different? I mean, does it play faster? Does it bounce more?
Yeah, it's definitely like faster and like slipperier. It does get pretty hard. Like today I was stretching before practice. I was like, this ground's pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
But the ball still just plays nice and like flat and less bouncy. It just skips a little more. Kind of like if it's wet outside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoveling the snow off, like there's probably just some moisture on it. So it's a really cool it's a football stadium, but it's a really great place to play soccer, and you get the views. It is cool watching the stream. You actually get the lake views, and of course, this time of year, you always see the snow on the side of the field.
The snow, and then under the lights. It's always just a fun atmosphere, and especially at home when we can get a good home crowd, and to have football home on the same weekends, that plays big into our energy out there.
Yeah, it was fun to hear, and I mean, it will be something for Emporia State to deal with. They're the team coming up to play you all because it's not like they're from Florida, but they aren't playing in snow right now. So I think it's a great home field advantage. To get to play into the third round. I don't know how often we've seen Minnesota teams get to do that, so really exciting.
This is the first time ever for us, so we're just
absolutely
excited about it.
Yeah. Do you expect a good crowd? I mean, it's a weekend game again. I mean,
our boys basketball has a game that night, so they probably won't make it. But football is changing their practice time to earlier in the day, so they'll be there. And we had a really good crowd last weekend, so I would assume that this weekend we'll get a good crowd as well.
Yeah, awesome. We'll be up equal time. We'll be up there. I think Matt is going to be up in Bemidji, catching that for the second year in a row. Talk about what we mentioned some of the differences of going through scoring struggles, but now, I mean, you're as far as the team's ever made it in the tournament. I mean, so I'm sure from your perspective, having been here all these years, what makes this team different? We mentioned just the goal output, but like in terms of the team itself, what makes it special? What's making you optimistic about your chances to go even further?
Yeah, and I think part of that plays into the adversity we had to overcome. We had to become a team later in the year this year and kind of figure out who we were and the style of soccer we wanted to play. Because in years past, things just kind of fell into place and we just kind of cruised and whatever. But this year, having to battle through that and really come together as a team on the field and off the field, I think really helped us become close. And I'm a lot older than the freshmen on the team, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. At some point, they stop becoming freshmen and sophomores, and we just become a team. And I think that's why we're driving and playing our best soccer right now.
Well, they need someone to rent a car for them, Allie. They're gonna you're gonna be the one helping them out.
Well, it's crazy because when I was a freshman here, they were in 7th grade.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. Yeah, that must be. Yeah, that is there's you would feel it enough. Yeah, I'm. Well, look, Matt and I deal with this where we're like, oh, we met so and so's parent. Oh, they're kind of our age, huh? More our age than the player. Yeah,
I know, it's crazy.
That's great. Well, but it's not uncommon in college now. I mean, given the COVID year, you also had your own complications, so you've been there a bit longer. But you have 5 people who've been there more than 4 years. I mean, and then 6 other seniors. So. Yeah. I mean, one is just how does that impact the team to have a core with that much experience? And then also just maybe curious, how do you keep the young players engaged, the ones who maybe don't get to play so much, but have to be, part of building the future?
Yeah. I think the part of the reason we've been playing so well lately is because of that core and that experience. And we just are like, hey guys, we've been here. And when we weren't really playing the best soccer, we're just like, we need to pick the team up because we are the older ones and we just need to start to lead now. And as soon as we started to do that more, the young ones just kind of followed in suit. And having that strong core, I think, makes us hard to play against because we've kind of seen everything. We've been in every possible situation. So that's been really fun. And then we have a really good bench. Everyone is excited for everybody on the sideline, and I think that feeds into how we're playing on the field too. You have a good bench, it just plays into your energy on the field. And they all want everybody to succeed, and if a player goes down, someone's ready there to step up and do their part. So I think just encouraging them and making sure we're checking in on them saying, hey, you guys good? Like, we got this. Like, you know, those little things have been helping with the younger girls. But all in all, since the beginning of the season, they've been great, absolutely great on the sideline. So.
Well, and you, I mean, seeing the difference that, you know, freshman players can experience and then grow through, you know, like you were there for the first NCAA tournament, right? For BSU, which is, you know, I've only been really following the conference for, you know, maybe 3 years. So it's Bemidji's always up top. It's something I'm used to, you know, and so for you, I mean, yeah, what does it mean for that? Like having been there the first time and now just knowing it's expected, you know, to go in and maybe win a game or two.
It's funny because at practice one day, coach is talking about 2017 and like that selection show and how cool it was. And I was like, yeah, I was there. Like the only one out of the team. I was like, I got to experience that. And I just told the team, I'm like, it's so special. Like what we're doing, you guys won't realize now because you haven't been here yet. But like the more you grow through this program, you realize what we're doing is so special. Like freshman me in 2017 didn't realize how cool that was to be the first to do that, to go to the NCAA tournament. And so just growing through it, you learn to appreciate everything that's going on a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, who would know you'd go to places as exotic as Missouri and Kansas? I mean, all the
I know.
But, and look, now they get to see Bemidji. I have to ask you, you mentioned your bench, and we had Bryn Desens on last week, and Mankato, Minnesota State had a great season, and she's the all-time leader in assists. So, but I asked her about their bench because, you know, it's a specific thing. Like it's very intentional. They want to make noise. They want it, you know, and they have a big bench. So like it really is loud, even if no one's there. So I just have to ask you, like, is it annoying? It must be.
It's not like annoying because that's how we want our bench to be too. Because the players, like, we feed off of that. But when we played them on Sunday, their bench brought the energy like right away, and we were kind of pinned in on that side for a while. It was like all we were hearing. But at the same time, it kind of gives us a little motivation to be like, okay, let's make them more quiet. You know, give them something not to cheer about. But that's how we want our bench. So, you know, props to them for having a strong bench as well.
Yeah, the numbers. And credit to the players. I mean, maybe it's just that, you know, you also need to stay warm when you're watching a game from the bench. It's 25, so make noise. But yeah, they, and it. I mean, I could say, a lot of athletes, like you said, it's nice to be cheered on, and it's also kind of fun to be cheered against too. It just shows, you know, there's good.
Yeah,
it's a great rivalry. Everyone from every team, everyone from both teams says, you know, that's the team they want to beat the most, you know. So
and it's always a battle, so it's just fun to play them. They play great soccer, we play great soccer, so it's just like a healthy competition and healthy battle, I think.
Yeah, it's a great challenge to see if you can play through their press and then, you know, defend everything they have going forward too, which we
have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah,
for how they play too, so props to them.
Well, and you and the other fifth years have played a lot of those players a lot of times because they have a lot of players. So, you know, a couple times, at least once a year, and then in the tournament, and then, you know, plenty of times. You mentioned you being the assist leader for BSU. Congratulations. You got some other teammates. I mean, with the COVID year, of course, people are going to break records, but I mean, you have been stacking up points, you know, since you were a freshman. I'm wondering, obviously we're in team mode, we're thinking about the NCAA tournament, but you know, you see these graphics come out when you get an assist, and how much do you pay attention? How much does it matter, you know, and in what way for you as a player to see
like all year, like you kind of know where you're standing, and you know, like if you accomplish this, it's going to be cool and you're going to get those graphics. But I would take a Beaver win over that any day. You know, just to go as far as you can as a team, because at the end of the day, people aren't going to remember personal records. You know, they're cool to get whatever, but they're going to remember the teams and the years that they did something special. So that's the ultimate goal. But it's cool, and I've been lucky enough to play with players around me that finish my passes and like help make me look good out there. So I've been pretty fortunate to have players around me that help me succeed.
Yeah, some of the all-time greats in the NSIC for sure, with Rachel Norton and Sarah Wendt, and I mean, you guys have tons of players who stack up points, but those two are in the top. I think they're the top.
They probably have over half of my assists for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Rachel, did a great job of helping me get into the NSIC, and she was a killer. It'd be tough to beat her total points for sure. I'll take a quick break to shout out our sponsor, Pentz Homes. This show is brought to you by Pentz Homes. Whether you're buying or selling or looking to do some projects in your current home, Nate and Lydia can help you find what you need. Need financing for a basement remodel, looking to add a second bath, or even a workspace now that you're working from home? Pentz Homes and their preferred lender, Angie Shearer, with Luminant Financing, can find the right financing tool for you. Go to pentzhomes.com to learn more or find them on social media at Pentz Homes. So Allie, I want to ask about getting to BSU a little bit. You're from Brainerd, you know, North. When I have to reference Brainerd frequently now, living in St. Paul, when I say I'm from Walker and they say, "Where's that?" I was like, "Do you know where?" I try to start with Brainerd. Have you seen the movie Fargo? We'll start from there. But how did you end up at Bemidji?
Yeah, so I actually got pretty lucky to end up here. I didn't really plan on playing soccer in college until coach reached out. So I was just lucky enough that we came to play Bemidji High School at BSU. And coach was home that weekend, so he could come watch on a Saturday. And he just liked the way I played and liked my athleticism. And so he kind of took a chance on me to bring me here. And it was my only offer and only place that wanted me. So it just kind of worked out really nice.
Well, safe to say some other coaches missed. Yeah, given the stats we were joking about, that is funny. But it does take just some chance and some encounters like that. And shout out to, did you beat Bemidji? Do you remember?
We did. Shout it was like 3-1 or something like that.
Awesome. I love beating Bemidji. Bemidji, you never beat Walker in all of our high school times, and it still obviously means something to me. So beating Bemidji is always fun. I saw a piece of you committing to BSU that was on Lakeland TV. For people who live in North Minnesota, the benefit of getting on TV when you play sports in high school.
Yeah.
You talked about maybe not playing soccer. Were you thinking of playing another sport in high school? I know you played a couple other sports, right?
Yeah, I actually always thought I was going to play hockey in college. Big hockey family. And
your brother plays, right?
Yeah, he plays for the Nashville Predators, and then my sister actually plays here at BSU. Okay. So it was kind of like in our blood to go play hockey, but something about soccer and something about coach just drew me here to Bemidji to play soccer. So.
Very cool. How long has your brother been playing in the NHL?
This is his fourth COVID, so third or fourth. This is his first year where he's just strictly been up at Nashville. The 2 years previous, he's kind of gone back and forth.
And yeah. So. What's Christmas like with the NHL player brother, huh? Allie?
That's nice. He finally starts to buy us gifts and stuff.
Well, if he's fully up now, we understand. Look, it's not, it's not crazy. Yeah, we don't look. I don't expect something crazy. I'm just wondering, Yeah.
So it's fun.
I love it. Must be fun to be able to go to any games too, and be able to watch your sister at the BSU games. That's a sweet place to watch hockey.
It is, and it's nice for my parents because last year there was a time we were both home, so they were just here Friday through Sunday watching us play both days. So it's cool for them.
Yeah, they can get both of your guys' games for sure. But talk about soccer a little bit more in Brainerd. I know I saw a reference to you that I'm familiar with Zolos, which is the Club Tijuana from Tijuana. And there's some listing of you playing for something called Zolos Academy FC. Is that a real thing, or what? Tell me about that.
It is. I never played club soccer growing up. I just played high school. And I would play
even as a kid. Even as a kid in elementary or just once you got to high school age?
Well, I played we have there's Lesa and Sholos came later, but it's just a summer team through our town, and everyone on my high school team would just play for that team. So we would go to tournaments and stuff, but I never played club.
Right.
And so we had a coach, his name was Ricky Lissert. He brought Sholos to Brainerd, so we kind of had two different teams. And so I played for Sholos for a while, but it was my high school team. We all just kind of did it together. So it was kind of fun, but that was my club team, I would say.
Yeah. So you weren't doing what people play in ECNL and Minnesota Thunder, where it's all year and it's everything. It was just high school.
Just high school. I came to school and my teams would always talk about club, this and that in the showcase. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. You're like, I was busy playing hockey, girl.
Hockey, and I was in track in spring, so it's like I was one sport to the next my whole life. So
yeah. Well, it's, those different skills show up too. I mean, I'm sure you would be good. It wouldn't have hurt your game to be playing a bunch of soccer, but it also probably helped it to, get the physicality of hockey and, passing and moving and everything too.
Yeah, and hockey and soccer kind of relate a lot to each other more than people probably know, with the vision and your self-awareness and that kind of
constant stuff. Movement. Like, they're not sports that stop all that. You have to move and combine. Yeah. Very cool. What'd you play in hockey?
I was between left wing and center. So when I was on my sister's line, we played together for 2 years in high school. She was the center and I was the left wing. So.
Oh, very cool. Wow, fun. Do you ever play now? Maybe the coach wouldn't really want you playing hockey as a soccer.
Sometimes I do. In alumni games, and I'll go play pickup hockey. And we live on a lake, so my dad always has a rink. So we play pickup hockey actually all the time. So.
Oh, sweet. What lake is it? I'm vaguely familiar.
It's called Little Lake Huber. It's a little private lake. It's not far from Gull Lake, which is probably the one.
Yeah. There's a million tiny lakes.
There's so many.
I lived on Round Lake for a while. I lived on.
Oh yeah, that's really close.
Yeah, I lived on a couple different lakes there, working on a political campaign when I was your age. Right. So talk about where you are in terms of eligibility. Obviously, like we said, I mean, you had an extra year too, right? In terms of dealing with. So you've been there a while. So you're obviously in graduate school. How are you using that graduate time? Like, what are you using in terms of your grad studies, and what are you planning to do with that next year, in the spring?
Yeah, so I graduated with physical education and health. So right now I'm getting my MAT, which is Master's in Art of Education and Teaching. So I'm just going to finish out the year with that, and I won't finish my master's quite yet. I'll get a job first. So in the spring, I'll just go and sub and get my foot in the door different places, and then apply for hopefully teaching jobs in the fall. So
right on. To be phys ed?
Yep, physical education.
What's your favorite gym game? Gotta ask, Allie.
I love Steal the Pin.
Of course. Oh man. Yeah. It sounds like a blast. Well, and I suppose when you actually study it, I mean, like, I took basketball coaching in college. You actually, I mean, do kind of probably have to do some of setting up the games because you have to show that you can do it, right? So do you play it in the classes a bit in college? Yeah,
you do. A lot of our teaching classes are like teaching our peers, and we actually play the game.
Oh man.
But when I student taught, I jump in and play the games with my students.
Our gym teachers really were quick to jump in and play games with us. I don't blame them. Yeah, that sounds, I mean, look, pickleball's all the rage now. That's the only time I played pickleball.
I love pickleball. My goal is to be that high school PE teacher where it's a competition with my students. I'm going to try to beat you every time.
Well, you should be better. I mean, and then, you're practicing every year. So yeah, eventually.
Exactly.
You never know. I think they're starting a pickleball league with celebrities owning teams because it's just such a fad.
They are. It's going to be like a national league. I actually just read an article on it a few weeks ago. Yeah, LeBron is starting one.
Drake's team or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see where that takes you. But what and how is it in terms of making the decision to come back? I did read something quick where you're like, I've been here so many years. Like, what was the thought process in making the choice, in terms of running it back one more time?
Yeah. Deep down, I think I knew I was always going to come back, but I kind of put up a front where I was like, no, I'm going to be done. I'm going to move on. I've been here for 5 years already. I'm going to start my career, but it's hard to leave a team and a program like this when you don't have to. I don't think I would have been okay with leaving on my own terms, just choosing to leave. So coming back and playing for a coach like Stone and for a program like this, you can't pass that up. You can't. You have to come back, and worked out school wise, and it sets me up better in the future. So everything just was too perfect not to come back.
Yeah. Were you in your grad program last year too, or just starting this year?
No. So after my sophomore year, when I knew I was going to take a fifth year already, I laid out my schooling so I would go for the 5 years.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out already.
That's good. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, look, I only had a political science major and no minor, so I could spread it out pretty thin too. Yeah, you can focus a little bit on getting everything you can out of the soccer experience. Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite soccer player, Allie?
My favorite soccer player, Probably Rose Lavelle right now. She's just so good. And like the dynamic player she is, it's so fun to watch her, and you're like, oh, I want to be like her. I want to play like that because she's just all around such a good player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could say we have so many people who say that, by the way, and it's really great. Yeah, but it's also cool because the players on Equal Time aren't just star chasers. They're not just saying, Rapinoe and Alex Morgan and all the young new strikers. They know the game. Yeah, and I could see it from you too because she is just a really creative player in the middle but can also go forward and score. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, she's the best. And the karaoke. If people didn't see, there's a little viral moment. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. I saw that on TikTok.
Like Celine Dion, and she's a goof, which is great because sometimes soccer players are square. She's not. Who's the best or most annoying defender you've faced? And I guess it could be high school, but whether it's a Bemidji player you train against, or if it's like someone from Mankato, or remembering in the NCAA tournament in a tough game. Who's you could be more than one.
If I'm being honest, every day in practice, I face two of the best center backs in the league.
Yeah.
And they are just so good. Not many people are as good as they are. So when you're training against that on a daily basis, sometimes you get into a game and you're like, oh, this is nice.
It's easier. Yeah. Well, I mean, look. Yeah. I mean, Dahl just racks up awards and awards, but the whole back line, is really tough. And you could see breaking up and distributing, I mean, everything. Yeah. So
there's between her and Hallie, it's pretty amazing what they can do.
Yeah. All right, on. What's the best goal you've ever scored? Or your favorite? Doesn't that,
the best goal.
You just had a game saver in the NCAA.
That one was pretty cool, actually. Not gonna lie, but there was one last year, against Michigan Tech, where the ball kind of got played across the box, and it was like a volley. And volleys are like my favorite because when you hit it right, it just feels so good. Yeah. And it came across the box, and I was just in the air, and I hit it, and it dipped in, and we won 2-1. Yeah. And it was under the lights, and we had a good crowd, and it was just a fun goal to score. So probably that one.
Nice. I have to take your word for taking a volley out of the air and scoring and how that feels. I'll just have to trust you on that. What's your favorite goal you set up? Because you have a lot of assists.
My favorite goal I've set up. Wow. Oh my gosh. I don't even know. There was one I remember in 2018, I think, with Rachel. It was at home, and I just kind of got the ball in the middle of the field, and she made like the best run she possibly could, and I just kind of like split their defenders, and she was in for a goal. But it was probably like a 25-yard pass. But not many people other than Rachel are ready for that. Yeah. So I was pretty lucky she was on the other end of it.
Nice. Yeah, a good assist feels just as good, I mean, as a goal. I assume it's Mankato because we always get this, so I got to mix it up. What's the team other than Mankato you most want to beat in the NSIC? Unless it isn't Mankato and you want to throw some shade on them.
No, our conference is so good. So every game, it's like you have to be ready. Maybe CSP because we're playing for the pig a little bit. There's some more external motivation there to bring.
I don't know. I don't know about the pig. I'm feeling ignorant. Tell me about the pig.
It's like this trophy, and we got a new one. I think it was last year. And it's a pig, and it's just kind of what we play for. It's like
how long has it been going since you've been there?
Yeah, like my freshman year, I got there, and they're like, "We're playing for the pig," and I'm like, "What?"
Wow. Okay.
Like, what is this?
This is I'm not an NSIC journalist at all. So that's great. And is it just a toy pig? Is it a statue? Is it,
It used to be this like silver coin jar pig thing.
Okay.
But this year it's more like on a stack, and it's like an actual like gold pig.
Okay.
So yeah, we play for the pig, and so it's always a battle because we want to bring that home.
Okay, cool. Do you know why it is the pig? Maybe not.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Rachel also didn't tell me. She didn't tell me crap about that. Yeah, that's well. We'll have to dig into it. Love it that you're playing for the pig. There's not that many trophies in Minnesota women's soccer. There's a trophy between Crookston and Moorhead. like something like the 95, the Highway 9 plate, you know, or it's
yeah,
that's great. You know, it's like, yeah, it's good. What's your favorite road trip in terms of like a stadium to play in? I know like Northern State has a really nice soccer stadium, even if they're not like the best team in the NSIC. Like, or in terms of non-conference games, maybe what's the best like soccer stadium you've played in or field?
Northern does have a really good field. But something about Southwest I really like. It's just like a really cool stadium.
In their football stadium?
Yeah, their football stadium. Yeah, it's super cool, and we seem to play well there, so maybe that helps too.
Yeah, memories are good.
Yeah, but I like their stadium a lot. It's really cool.
Yeah, and depending on the time of the fall, whether you're getting a fertilizer day or not. Because when I lived in Morris, be like, wow, this is it's just what we're dealing with. That's what you're breathing.
There's that too. But.
What is the best thing about Bemidji for you, or maybe, you know, if you get a job somewhere else, what's the thing you'll miss most other than the soccer team?
Other than the soccer team, just like the community
house. And your cousin's sweet house.
Besides the house, Bemidji has a really close, tight-knit community, and we have a lot of supporters out there, and like we'll go just to stores or random places in town, and you'll bump into people that know about your soccer team, or they ask you questions and they just like congratulate you. And so I think that just like the community base out there, I know that relates to soccer, but that's something I'll miss too.
Yeah. No, it's a cool town in that and being from northern Minnesota, it's like people who stay there are proud to be there. If they didn't want to be there, they'd move to Burnsville or something. So it's like
exactly.
And they're really, and especially with BSU, it's a small town. Like Marshall is like that, and Crookston is certainly really small, but like it's unique to really own it, you know, in terms of being the big sports story in town. So it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to hear from other Bemidji players too. Yeah. What's your score prediction for the game with Emporia tomorrow?
Score prediction.
They scored a couple in the last game as well. They score. They definitely score. They scored a similar amount of goals to you guys. I think a little bit more this year, but yeah, they scored a lot.
Yeah, no, they're good. Offensively, they're really good, and they have that forward that has like 22 goals or something on the year. So they're good. I think if we play well, I'm gonna say 2-0. I don't know. So,
it's a win nonetheless. Yeah. How much you must have been practicing PKs though, right? Even though you didn't have to get to it. Have you been have you been practicing it in terms of knowing who your people are going to be?
Yeah, we practice because it could go to PKs at any given game. So we practice like it's a real game on practices, and so I think we'll have a pretty good lineup if it comes to that.
Nice. And I'm sure you're someone who wants to take one. That's not giving anything away to people, but I'm sure it's like you could pick, you know, I'm sure it's like Sarah, you, Eric, like, yeah, there's a lot of people who probably, you know, more than 5 will stick their hands up though. So. Oh
yeah, we have some good penalty takers, so it could come from anybody.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, Stumbaugh ready after coming back from injury. And she's just had a great year too. So yeah. One last question, in terms of being a Brainerd native. Allie, where's Paul Bunyan from?
Paul Bunyan?
Where do you consider? Because, I mean, look, a lot of places claim him in Minnesota. Brainerd, Bemidji, Akeley.
Paul Bunyan. I would say here, Paul and Babe. When I think of like Paul Bunyan and Paul and Babe, I think Bemidji.
Yeah. I mean, they used to have the whole, you know, you had the whole land that kind of petered out, the Paul Bunyan land. Right?
Yeah, but we have like the actual Paul and the Babe statues here. So I would say Bemidji.
And Bemidji, Bemidji, okay. Because, I mean, Brainerd people say it too. We'll meet people from Michigan, and they think Paul Bunyan's from Michigan. They don't understand what's going on. No. Don't they know how the Mississippi was formed? They don't understand. They don't understand. Well, Allie, thank you. Glad we cracked the code on that one too. I guess Paul Bunyan's from Bemidji. Look, I consider him to be from Akeley. I can't lie. It's just a loyalty thing. It's where I went to middle school. But you can catch Allie and the BSU Beavers at home versus Emporia State in the Sweet 16 tomorrow, in November 18th, 3 p.m. Stream the game, nsicnetwork.com. You can go to the Bemidji State website and get it too. You can watch equal time for coverage. Or if you're anywhere near Bemidji, get out to, do you call it the chat? Get out to the chat.
Yep, come out to the chat.
Chet. Was he like an announcer for? I don't know that. I should know this. He's whoever Chet was, but that's a great name for a stadium.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Head out to the Chet. I'll be watching for sure. And look, BSU is now the only Minnesota team left in the D2 tournament, so we can be unabashed and say we're just rooting for Bemidji. And a great year to Minnesota State as well, because that game was crazy.
Yes, so that was a good game. Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll watch tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.